Hi everyone, it is True Celebrity Stories here, and as usual, we are here to give you some inside details about some of your favorite celebrities. As you know, we stick with the facts here. So why don't you take a seat and watch this video about one of the icons of American pop culture. But before we continue, please do well to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications so you get first-hand information and beeps when we post our videos. Let's get started, shall we? In recent times, no matter who you were, you could come out of the closet and identify in whatever way made you feel most comfortable. Even if you were going to get a bit of backlash, generally you would be good. The delectable Bruce, now Caitlyn Jenner, is a perfect example. As a former Olympian and a core member of the Kardashian family, while also sitting on millions of dollars in the sales of his books and endorsements, one might have thought coming out might have messed up everything. But see what we have now, a delectable Caitlyn Jenner, winning and strutting the spotlight with pride. However, back in the 80s, this was not the case. Enlightenment was not at this level, and it was only normal to be scared of the world knowing about your sexual orientation. There were speculations that Whitney Houston, one of the most famous American singers, could not live fully as she always had to hide this part of her. Many say she was a closet bisexual, an allegation she always denied. But what is the truth surrounding the sexual orientation of one of America's best-selling artists of all time? There were also rumors that she was in an exhausting love triangle with her husband and assistant at the time. Curious to know more? Stay with us as we give you an all-encompassing story on Whitney's love triangle. Whitney's early life and friendship with Robin Crawford. We might be in an age where although words and actions are more scrutinized, there is far greater understanding. Most do not care what celebrities do with their private lives. Even though there is this obsession with everything our favorite stars do, we are still more supportive of whatever decisions they make as far as their sexual orientation is concerned. But this was not the case in the 80s. Many of our stars in pop culture had secret lives we might never know of. But in this context, we shall be highlighting the private life of Whitney Houston. For many years before her death, she denied the slightest possibility of being anything other than being a straight woman. Still, her closeness and her assistant Robin Crawford would not stop the tongues from wagging. Whitney's meeting with Crawford was not random. They had earlier met when they were both teenagers in East Orange, New Jersey. This was before Whitney shot to fame and became that global artist we have all come to know with her widespread influences. Houston, 16, and Crawford, 19 at that time, were said to have lived together in an apartment in New Jersey, and they quickly became friends that were told to be too close for comfort. Everything they did together was under intense scrutiny, and the word was quickly gaining ground that they were more than friends. Robin Crawford would later become Houston's assistant and creative director when her music began to travel. Crawford was always seen around Whitney, but this was supposed to be standard, right? You cannot claim to be the assistant to someone and work with them far away from them. Even if Whitney was bisexual, it was not easy to let out at that time. We would later get a big insight into when her mother, Sissy Houston, would openly admit to Oprah Winfrey that she never approved of her daughter's relationship with Robin. So it was very much possible that Sissy would have been a significant reason why she never came out, even if she wanted to. Maybe our queen never had that support we thought she should have had. In Sissy's words, she said in her book, "I knew I didn't want Robin around my daughter, and I told her that there wasn't much I could do though." She continued by saying, Whitney was already at that age where you cannot forbid your kids from doing anything. Kids would always be kids, but by this admission, we get the clue that Robin might have possibly influenced Whitney's mother, never approved of it, but she could not do anything about it. The entire layout of Whitney's bisexual relationship and love triangle. Way before she got married to Bobby Brown, who was rumored to be a significant lousy influence on her life as he introduced her and her daughter, Bobby Christina, to hard drugs. An allegation he constantly denies, even as he was known as Hollywood's R&B bad boy at the time. But way before she was found face down in the tub and maxed out on substances found to be hard drugs, she was rumored to have been dating her longtime assistant Robin Crawford, as we mentioned earlier. She met Crawford in the circumstances earlier described, and as they became inseparable, Crawford would later drop out of Monmouth College to work for Houston. Houston would later tell the Time magazine in 1987 that Crawford was more like the sister she never had. Houston and Crawford both denied being gay at the time. In her words, Whitney was quoted as saying, "My mother taught me that when you stand in the truth and someone tells a lie about you, don't fight it. I'm not with any man, and I am not in love. People see Robin, Crawford and draw their conclusions. Anyway, whose business is it if you are gay or like dogs? What others do shouldn't matter. Let people talk. It doesn't bother me because I know I'm not gay. I don't care. Crawford, on her part, would say to the Times magazine that she would always tell her family not to listen to anything from the streets and that if they did not hear it from her, it is not valid. However, she would later come out herself much later. The rumor mill would always be in action all through Houston's life. She was rich and had everything at her feet. But how come she lived with her assistant? It was as if America could not get it. Whitney was the perfect person for America to cling to. She was beautiful, the perfect African-American woman. The paparazzi could feast on for their gains, unlike Oprah Winfrey and Gayle King, who has laughed off the claims of a lesbian relationship. Houston and Robin could not do that, as since their relationship was the typical lust-less public affectionate relationship, something must have been going down behind the curtains. These reports of Whitney Houston being a lesbian were also fueled by the blogger Daryl Diano, who wrote in 2009 that everyone who had inside knowledge of the workings of the industry knew about Houston and Crawford's relationship. He claimed it was something they did not hide, even during the many recording sessions. There were also sightings of Houston and Kelly McGillis, and that she regularly visited McGillis on set when she was filming the movie The Babe. Even though at that point, McGillis was already rumored to be a closet lesbian, she came out in 2009. The relationship between McGillis and Houston dates back to 1988. During the filming of the movie, The Accused, she was said to have been a part of a love triangle that included Jodie Foster and McGillis. McGillis would later deny the rumors and revealed she never met Whitney Houston, even though she only agreed to know her as a vastly talented woman. When you decide to look at it critically, Houston's true sexuality might never be known, and the tragic question of how her weird relationships, addictions, and eventual death happened all seem to be intertwined. Bobby Brown's angle. We all know the 80s bad boy of R&B music as Whitney Houston's husband, and her marriage in 1992 was more like a way to escape the gathering whirlwind about her sexuality. In some other instances, the rumor mill also claims that Brown was responsible for introducing Whitney to all the hard drugs she would later get addicted to, an allegation Brown has denied over time. They got married in 1992 in a lavish wedding. The union produced a child, Bobby Christina, who died in similar circumstances as her mom and drug overdose. She got married when she was doing so well in her career, and he was beginning to nosedive. His band just disbanded. It was more like America's sweetheart was getting married to America's bad boy. You know, the typical cliche good girls like bad boys thingy. After she married Brown, the rumor mill started again. The fact that she was on drugs, an allegation that would unfortunately be proved to be true. Bobby Brown, now a convert to the Christian faith, also says some things in his defense. Contrary to what many may think, he felt he got married to be loved, but Whitney had other plans. In an authorized biography, Brown, in an uncharacteristic move, would later out his former wife to the public when he wrote that he felt they got married for all the wrong reasons. He now believes they both had different agendas when they got married. He thought she planned to clean up her image of being in a lesbian relationship while he was to be loved and have children. The media would not stop spinning the wave that she was in a bisexual relationship with Robin Crawford while she was married to Bobby Brown. It was said that the relationship between Brown and Robin was icy, and they rarely saw eye to eye. You might be tempted to believe this assertion, as it seems possible, but when you consider it, we might never know the truth about the whole arrangement. It seems a lot was done to please the media, and the Queen of Music never pleased herself. The legendary Nick Broomfield later released a documentary on the life and times of the singer, so there might be more on that biopic to give us a clearer picture of the life of Whitney Houston. In the documentary, interviews were held with former workers, bodyguards, relatives, and acquaintances alike, and together, they revealed a life plagued by self-doubt, self-censorship, and overall self-destruction.